Documentary of Cadres going south to Hunan. In the spring of 1949, the three major battles of Liaoshen, Huihe, and Pingjin ended successfully. The People's Liberation Army crossed the Yangtze River and marched into the south of the Yangtze River. The liberation of Hunan was imminent. For this reason, the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China successively issued the resolution on all cadres needed to prepare to seize national power and instructions on scheduling cadres prepared to cross the Yangtze River with the army. According to the great strategic deployment of the party Central Committee and the spirit of a series of instructions, the Hunan Provincial Party Committee and provincial government were formally established in Tianjin in March 1949. Huang Keqian served as the secretary of the Provincial Party Committee and Wang Xiaodao served as the chairman of the provincial government. Soon he went south with the army. Before and after this, the party organizations in the old liberated areas such as Zhejiang, Taihang, Shahar, Southern Hebei, Eastern Hebei, Central Hebei, Western Henan, Shandong, Hebei, Harbin, Changchun, Beijing, Tianjin, etc., led and planned to mobilize party, government, military, and group departments at all levels. In principle, half of the cadres will be drawn to go south, and half will stay to work in the original area. The cadres and staff who went south were transferred to form the Nangxia District Party Committee, Detachment or Headquarters, Prefectural Committee, Brigade, County Committee, Squadron, etc., and went south with the army as an organizational system. At the same time, units such as North China University, North China People's Revolutionary University, Chongyuan University, and Northeast Workers Political University also dispatched a large number of students to go south with the army. According to statistics, a total of 14,741 cadres of various levels and types were transferred from the liberated areas in the north to Hunan, including 12,598 men and 2,143 women. They arrived in Hunan from July 1949 to June 1950. After the southward cadres entered Hunan, 12,645 of them entered Changsha, Xiangtan, Hanyang, Chang, Yiyang, Shaoyang, Yangzhou, Xiangzi, Huatang, Yuanling, Yongshan, Quanzhou and other 13 prefectures, cities, and more than 100 counties, districts, accounting for 85.5% of the total number of cadres who went south to Hunan. 2,087 people were assigned to work in various departments of the provincial government, accounting for 14.5% of the total number of cadres who went south to Hunan. Tens of thousands of passionate youths from the old liberated areas in the north bid farewell to their relatives and friends, left their hometowns with the lofty ambition of carrying out the revolution to the end, went through countless hardships, traveled thousands of miles, and entered Hunan one after another. Cao Ying, former member of the Central Advisory Committee and former secretary of the Changsha Municipal Party Committee, recorded in detail in his memoirs the scene when he went south to Hunan. On the night of April 20, 1949, 1,000,000 troops of the Chinese People's Liberation Army forcibly crossed the Yangtze River. Nanjing was liberated on that day. A large number of cadres went south immediately. At the end of April, my wife Chen Weiqing and I left Beijing for Tianjin by train with only a few security guards. In Tianjin, we met our old comrade in arms Huang Lin. He was leading the cadres transferred from Jilin province to gather in Tianjin and prepare to go south. At that time, the transportation was inconvenient, the railways and roads were not repaired, and the train transportation was very abnormal, and it was a lot of trouble along the way. We and some cadres arrived in Kaifeng, Henan province by train in mid-May. At that time, the headquarters of the 4th Field Army was already in Kaifeng. Later, a large number of people went south. Cadres also arrived here one after another. According to the arrangement of the central government, the cadres who went south were trained in Kaifeng, and then went south in batches. The training lasted for about a month, mainly learning the spirit of the second plenary session of the 7th Central Committee of the party and related guidelines and policies. After submitting the report, through study, the cadres who went south generally improved their ideological understanding. From May 16 to 17, all 3 towns in Wuhan were liberated. When I arrived in Hankow in early July, the city was still in chaos, and the Military Control Commission had already taken over the 3 towns in Wuhan. On July 14, I took a jeep and entered Hunan through Tongcheng, Hubei. Someone in my hometown saw me, so the news that Cao Ying is not dead, Cao Ying is back spread in my hometown. After the Ma Ri incident after leaving my hometown, I never returned home, nor did I have any correspondence with my family. People thought I was dead. To meet the needs of underground work, I was released from the central military prison of the Kuomintang in Nanjing in September 1937 and returned to Yan'an to study at the Central Party School. At that time, the name was changed to Shilei. I thought, since the people in my hometown still remember my name Cao Ying, I should change it back. A telegram asking for instructions was sent to the party Central Committee. The Central Committee immediately responded with a telegram, agree. Passing through Tongcheng and entering the territory of Hunan Province, it is my hometown Pingjiang County. I came to Nanjiang Bridge, which is only 15 miles away from my home. That night, my younger brother Cao Yuanzhong came to visit me at Nanjiang Bridge. My compatriots reunited after a long absence. I was very happy and sad. The troops stayed at Nanjiang Bridge for one night, and then headed for Pingjiang County. From Nanjiang Bridge to Pingjiang County, I happened to pass by my home. My aunt, sister, sister-in-law, nephew and relatives all picked me up on the side of the road. I had to go on my way, but I didn't even enter the house, and everyone met at the side of the road and separated. I arrived in Pingjiang County on the same day, and Qi Shaoliang, secretary of the county party committee and county magistrate, received us. At the end of July, we arrived at Huanghua town near Changsha City. At this time, representatives of the party central committee were negotiating with Chen Jian and Chen Minggren. Therefore, all work was focused on the peaceful liberation of Changsha. Secretary Jin Ming, Secretary General of the Provincial Party Committee Yuan Renai and I also participated in the negotiations. After many negotiations with Chen Jian and Chen Minggren, the two generals Chen and Chen understood the righteousness and announced the peaceful uprising on August 4th. At this point, Changsha officially declared peace is liberated. A cadre who went south talked about the scene of the peaceful liberation of Changsha that year and still feels emotional. In order to celebrate the peaceful liberation of Changsha and welcome the People's Liberation Army into the city, our southward cadres went deep into various units in the city and made all the preparations day and night. We organized the masses to post all kinds of welcome slogans and pictorials all over the city. In front of every house 2 red flags were neatly hung. From morning to night, the sound of gongs and drums that our cadres going south organized to practice singing and Yanko rehearsal can be heard everywhere in the city. Under the scorching heat and the bombing of enemy planes, our comrades going south persisted in their work. We stayed up all night for 2 whole nights. We installed a temporary broadcasting system to broadcast the news of welcoming the PLA to enter the city at any time. The workers in the telephone office also managed to connect with the PLA who were about to enter the city, shouting outside the city from time to time, "Comrades, come on." At about 8 o'clock in the evening on August 5th, the People's Liberation Army solemnly marched into Changsha City amidst the cheers of thousands of people. This night, the whole city of Changsha was brightly lit, and more than 500,000 citizens reveled all night. There are occasions. After listening to the narration of this veteran cadre going south, I couldn't help getting excited, as if I was also in the carnival night celebrating the liberation of Changsha. Looking back on the past and looking back at the present, looking at the prosperity of Changsha and the great changes in Hunan today, we cannot but make us miss those heroes who have dedicated their lives to the liberation and construction of Hunan even more. Along with the triumphant song of peaceful liberation of Changsha, the people of Zhejiang ushered in the liberation of the whole Hunan at the same time. The cadres who went south with the army from all walks of life rushed to all parts of the province one after another, and quickly started work such as taking over the administration, cleaning up bandits and fighting hegemony, land reform, and raising food and expenditure. Qi Shaoliang, former deputy director of the Standing Committee of the Hunan Provincial People's Congress, said that at that time, faced with the difficult situation of depression and people's livelihood, it was necessary to clean up the muddy water left by the old society and build a new socialist home on the ruins. What a task! It was difficult. Therefore, from the first day when we took over the old regime and established a new regime, we devoted all our efforts to arrange the production and life of the people while raising food supplies and eliminating bandits and rebelling against hegemony. During the year from August 1949 to August 1950, only Changsha City took a number of measures such as assisting in changing jobs, introducing jobs, assisting production and management, providing work relief and social relief, etc., which solved the problems of unemployed workers, the poor, and foreigners. The production and living difficulties of more than 80,000 refugees have won the trust and support of the broad masses of the people. Locution, the former chairman of the Hunan Provincial Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, went south with the army from his hometown of Shaanxi in 1949. After arriving in Hunan, he was assigned to work in the organization department of the Changsha Prefectural Committee. Together with local underground party cadres, he often went deep into the countryside to mobilize the masses, carried out extensive campaigns to eliminate bandits and hegemony, reduce rent and interest, and was busy day and night with the work of establishing a new regime. Whenever he recalled the scene when he went south to Hunan, Chairman Lu Fuxian said with deep emotion that there were no roads or any means of transportation in the rural areas of Hunan at that time. Living conditions were very difficult. However, our cadres going south carried forward the revolutionary spirit of not fearing hardship and death, and went to the countryside to help clean up and rectify underground party branches. Through a thorough investigation, some old township and security chiefs were replaced, and some new forces with progressive ideas were absorbed from the countryside to establish a new grassroots political power. It can be said that at that time, the work of taking over the government, clearing bandits, and fighting hegemony, land reform, etc. was thrilling and full of blood and rain. Bandits, bullies, and landlords in the countryside colluded with each other, and sabotage activities such as assassinations and sneak attacks were very rampant. The cadres going south are at the forefront of the struggle, and most of them are the backbone of the leadership of the new regime at all levels. They are the first to be the targets of bandits and bullies. However, the vast number of cadres who went south were fearless, fought bravely and were willing to shed blood and sacrifice for the liberation of the Hunan people, and launched an indomitable struggle against the remnants of the old Kuomintang regime. Not long after the cadres who went south entered Hunan, they first took over the police forces in Changsha, Yueyang, Yiyang, Changde, Hanyang, Shaoyang and other cities, and then carried out a comprehensive mass anti-traitor and anti-spies registration work. In Changsha city alone, more than 400 private guns were confiscated within half a month, and more than 200 spies were registered. At that time, there were many Kuomintang secret agents lurking in various parts of Hunan. In addition, bandits in the mountainous areas, rural bullies, and landlords colluded with each other inside and outside, and counter-revolutionary activities were very rampant, which brought many difficulties and dangers to the work of cadres going south. Under the persuasion and education of Cao Ying, Yan Zhejiang and other leading cadres who went south, Lu Ronju, the police chief of the Kuomintang Changsha city, was about to abandon the dark and turn to the bright, but was suddenly assassinated by the vicious spies, which cast a terrifying shadow on the fledgling United Front work. During this period, bandits and landlord bullies in South Zhejiang County caused troubles and attacked the county government, killing 15 cadres on the spot. The 6th district office of Anhua County was attacked by bandits, killing 9 cadres. Bandits, spies, landlords, and tyrants from all over the country harbored deep-seated hatred for the newly established New People's regime, and wantonly sabotaged it, which brought great resistance to the Qing dynasty's anti-hegemony and land reform. At this time of crisis, the party's Central Committee and Chairman Mao issued an order to the whole country: it is necessary to wipe out bandits within a time limit, accelerate land reform, develop local armed forces, and resolutely suppress counter-revolutionary activities. At the end of 1949, the 47th Army of the People's Liberation Army sent troops to Zhejiang, and the nationwide battle to encircle and suppress bandits began. The cadres going south from all over the country actively organized local armed forces and cooperated with the large forces to carry out multi-channel raids with powerful troops against the western and southern Hunan, where the bandits had been entrenched for a long time, forcing the bandits to disperse and abscond from large groups to small groups. The strategy and tactics combined with point guard, repeated dragnet sweeps, made the bandits know where to hide. Lu Qingcheng, a retired veteran cadre of the United Front Work Department of the Hunan Provincial Party Committee, recalled the situation during the encirclement and suppression. The 47th Army of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, where I belonged, was ordered to enter Zhejiang in October 1949. After a large force was stationed in Yuanling, the Zhejiang military region was established, and first launched the Daeong Battle, annihilating more than 5,000 people from the 1st, 2nd, and 2nd Army of the Kuomintang Regular Army, and won the uprising of the Chenkuhan Department of the local armed forces, and surrendered more than 1,200 people from the Wanyuanhua Department. At the beginning of November 1949, 2 divisions of the main force of the 47th Army were ordered to fight in Sichuan. The division focused on encircling and suppressing along the highway. By the end of December, more than 1,700 bandits had been wiped out, and more than 7,400 people had surrendered. In January 1950, the 139th Division and 141st Division of the 47th Army went to Sichuan to participate in the war. After returning to Hunan, he devoted himself to suppressing bandits in western Hunan. From April to the end of June, more than 15,000 bandits were wiped out. From August to early October, more than 20,000 bandits were wiped out. So far, the entire territory of western Hunan has been liberated. After large-scale banditry operations, until at the end of May 1951, the gangsters who were publicly active in the whole province were basically wiped out. Old photos of Cadres going south in Hunan. Source: Changsha Evening News. On the National Day in 1950, Grand National Day celebrations were held in various parts of Hunan. In Dao County in southern Zhejiang, a memorial archway was erected in front of the government gate. Shi Zaihuhua, second from right, who was a staff member of the Dao County government at that time, took a group photo in front of the archway. Later, Shi Zaihuhua became the first secretary of the Dao County Party Committee. After Hunan was peacefully liberated, the 12th Corps of the People's Liberation Army served as the Hunan Provincial Military Region. The political department of the Provincial Military Region consisted of the Secretariat, the Organization Department, the Propaganda Department, the Security Department, and the Democratic Movement Department. Later, the Youth Department was added. In October 1951, Mo Yantung and Huan Kui'er, second and third from right in the front row, of the political department responded to the party's call, bit off their fingers, put blood on them, and voluntarily applied to join the volunteer army, which was approved. Before going to the North Korean front, his colleagues in Changsha held a farewell party for him and took a group photo in the Provincial Military Region. Also in the photo are Kong Kai from the Democratic Movement Department, second from left in the middle row, Shi Song, and Cai Zhao Kai from the Organization Department, third and fourth from left in the middle row, Song Jinkyo and Wang Mingzi from the Secretariat, third and fourth from left in the back row, etc. In the spring of 1949, the People's Liberation Army occupied Nanjing. Before the Battle of Crossing the River, the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China decided to transfer 53,000 cadres from the liberated areas to take over the provinces in the south of the Yangtze River. Liu Yuzhan, middle in the front row, a cadre going south who came to Changsha, Hunan, and his colleagues who went south at the same time took a group photo in front of the Kongli Pavilion next to Tianjin Pavilion, a famous scenic spot in Changsha, during the holiday. Source: Cadres from Shandong go south to take over Zhejiang Jishi. In the later period of the War of Liberation, the East China Bureau of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China transferred a large number of cadres from the Shandong liberated area, and went south to Zhejiang with the PLA to receive, manage, and build a new liberated area, making important historical contributions to the construction of Zhejiang. The southbound cadres who took over Zhejiang were mainly drawn from the central and southern regions of Shandong and Bohai. In 1948, the War of Liberation entered its third year, and the balance of power between the Kuomintang and the Communist Party underwent fundamental changes. In September, the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China held a meeting of the Politburo in Zibepo, Pingshan, Hebei, and demanded that a large number of cadres who can manage military, political, economic, party affairs, cultural and educational tasks be trained quickly and in a planned way so that they can advance with the army and be able to manage the newly opened liberated areas with a population of about 50 to 100 million in an orderly manner. On October 28, the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China made the resolution on the preparation of 53,000 cadres, which required East China to prepare 15,000 cadres. In December, the East China Bureau of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China held a meeting in Minjiazwan, at the junction of Ling and Yudu in Shandong, and deployed cadres to work with the army to go south to study the organizational arrangements of the East China Bureau and its district party committees after the army crossed the river. On December 25, the East China Bureau issued the instructions on the implementation of the Central Committee's resolution on the preparation of 53,000 cadres, requesting that 15,000 cadres be transferred from Shandong due to the current shortage of cadres, especially middle-level and senior cadres, in central China. The 15,000 cadres transferred to the south were prepared in two phases, the first phase at the end of December 1948, with 3,000 people transferred, the second phase at the end of February 1949, with 12,000 people transferred. It is required that the central and southern regions of Shandong should be equipped with one district party committee level, 10 prefecture level committees, and 40 county and district committee levels, with a total of 3,680 cadres. Bohai District should be equipped with 1 district party committee level, 5 prefecture level committees, and 41 county and district committee level. A total of 3,456 cadres were transferred. After receiving instructions from the East China Bureau, the party committees of Shandong districts actively mobilized, publicized, and planned. In December 1948, the Bohai district first transferred cadres from a prefectural committee, military division, exclusive, to form the 1st Brigade of the Bohai 3 detachments. The brigade headquarters is the shelf of the prefecture-level leading organization, and the prefectural committee, special agency, and military division are transferred to lead cadres, a total of more than 730 people. Zhang Huachi as the captain, Yan Ming as the political commissar and party secretary of the brigade, and Zhou Hunan as the deputy secretary of the party committee of the brigade, gathered in Wangang village, Yuta County, East China Bureau Party School for Training. According to the same organizational system as the Bohai district, Shandong Zhongnan district transferred more than 700 cadres, and formed the first batch of southward cadre brigades in the district, which were concentrated in the East China Bureau Party School for Training. After January 1949, the transfer of cadres to the south from various strategic areas in Shandong was in full swing. The party committee of Shandong Zhongnan district decided to form a district party committee consisting of district party committee members Zhang Jinfu, Zhang Yufan, Wei Saiwen, Lu Jianzhong, Li Peinan, and a prefectural party secretary Lin Hujia to lead the team to the south. Zhang Jinfu was the party secretary of the Nangxia district, Zhang Yufan was the director of the administrative office, Wei Saiwen was the head of the organization, Lin Hujia was the head of the propaganda, Lu Jianzhong was the head of the democracy movement, Li Peinan was the deputy political commissar and director of the political department of the military region, and Hu Dingqian was the deputy commander of the military region. After research, the party committee of Bohai district decided to select Lu Jeping, deputy secretary of the district party committee and minister of organization, Chen Fang, director of propaganda of the district party committee, Li Wen, deputy director of the district administrative office, Zhou Guanyu, deputy political commissar of the military region, and Peng Rulin, secretary of the 4th Bohai Prefectural Committee. District Party Committee, Fen Lejin, deputy director of the City and Industry Department of the District Party Committee, was appointed secretary general of the Nangxia District Party Committee. Other strategic areas have also been equipped with teams going south. In February 1949, according to the telegram of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China on the southward movement of the East China Bureau and the East China Military Region, the East China Bureau instructed the party school of the East China Bureau to move south to Linkheng to accept 15,000 cadres from various strategic areas. On February 19, more than 3,000 cadres in the first phase of going south and the party school of the East China Bureau departed from the station by the same train, passed through Zhongbian, Zhugan, Jinan, and Taiyuan, and arrived at Linkheng Station on the morning of the 21st. By mid-March, more than 12,000 southbound cadres transferred from Bohai Sea, Central and Southern Shandong and other regions had gathered in Linkheng, and were distributed in the rural areas around Shagu Town and Weishan Lake in Linkheng. In Linkheng, all the cadres going south underwent intensive training, and established a strict organizational structure in military, political, administrative, life, management, education, supply, health and other aspects. All the cadres going south have successively studied the resolutions of the second plenary session of the 7th Central Committee of the Party, the current situation and our tasks, Manifesto of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, Urban Work Policy, 3 disciplines, 8 points of attention and carry out new district work etc. The focus of the report is to solve the principles and policies of taking over the urban and rural areas of the new area, which has laid a good foundation for later entering the city and working in the new liberated area. According to the instructions of the Command and Political Department of the East China Military Region, all the cadres who went south were unified into the column of cadres who went south in East China. Detachment, Commander Zhou Guanyu, Political Commissar Lu Jeping. In late March 1949, the 3rd Detachment and the 4th Brigade of the cadre column in southeast China were ordered to go south with the army in advance to raise food and grass. On April 20th, the nationalist government refused to sign the peace agreement, and the Kuomintang communist peace talks broke down. That night, the People's Liberation Army launched a campaign to cross the river. In the early morning of the 21st, the frontier positions of the Kuomintang army collapsed across the board, and the Cadres who followed the army to the south followed the troops and crossed the Yangtze River smoothly. After crossing the river, the Cadres who went south with the army, like the field troops, often traveled 70 or 80 miles a day and night to gather food and grass supply troops on the spot in order to chase and wipe out the fleeing Kuomintang troops, to help the PLA capture the defeated enemy, collect weapons and ammunition, and clean up the battlefield. On April 26, according to the instructions of the East China Bureau, the Cadres who went south with the army to raise food were separated from the field troops, restored to the original organizational system, and concentrated in the northern Zhejiang area to rest and stand by. After the Battle of Crossing the River started, the people who stayed in Linkhang to study intensively set out to go south. Beginning on April 30th, the southward team drove across the Yangtze River one after another. After crossing the Yangtze River, the team entered Zhejiang. Here, the leader of the column received an order from the East China Bureau and asked the team to go to Danyang, where the party and government organs of the East China Bureau are located. In order to take over the needs of Zhejiang, as early as February 1949, the Front Enemy Committee of the 3rd Field Army held a meeting of cadres above the division level in Jiawang, northern Jiangsu. Corps Commander Wang Jianan led the 7th Corps to take over Zhejiang. At the same time, the leading organization to take over Zhejiang, the Zhejiang Provincial Preparatory Committee of the Communist Party of China, was established in Benbu, Anhui, with Tan Jinlin as secretary and Tan Qilong as deputy secretary. When you arrive in Zhejiang, do a good job in the distribution work, and strive to quickly deploy to all parts of the province according to the provincial, prefectural, city, and county teams as soon as you arrive in Zhejiang. On the afternoon of May 3rd, Hangzhou was liberated. On the evening of May 5th, Tan Qilong led some cadres who went south to Hangzhou to join Tan Jinlin and others who had already been stationed in Hangzhou. On May 15th, the Zhejiang Provincial Party Committee held a meeting of the leaders of the various teams of cadres going south, chaired by Tan Jinlin, Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee. Tan Qilong, Deputy Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee, made a report on Zhejiang Province's situation and takeover tasks, and Yang Ziyi, Director of the Organization Department of the Provincial Party Committee, assigned work tasks. Subsequently, the cadres who went south to Zhejiang went to various places. The cadres who went south to Zhejiang mainly included 1,051 from the Xian Zone Finance Office, 4,656 from the Central and Southern District of Shandong, and 2,877 from the Bohai District, a total of 8,584. Its main distribution is as follows. The cadres of the Xian Zone Finance Office are mainly assigned to work in the Provincial Party Committee and the Hangzhou Military Control Commission, of which 62 are assigned to the Provincial Party Committee and 989 to the Hangzhou Military Control Commission. Among the cadres of the 1st Detachment led by Zhang Jinfu, Zhang Yufan, Li Peinan, etc., the directly subordinate team is mainly assigned to the work of the Provincial Party Committee and the Hangzhou Military Control Commission. The 1st team is mainly assigned to the 2nd Prefectural Committee, Ningbo, Shaoxing area, 9 Prefectural Committees, Linan area. The 3rd Brigade is mainly assigned to the 8th Prefectural Committee, Jinhua area. Part of the cadres of the 4th Brigade are assigned to the Provincial Party Committee and Hangzhou Military Control Commission, and some are assigned to the 9 Prefectural Committees and counties directly under the province. The 5th Brigade part of the cadres are assigned to work in the Provincial Party Committee and Hangzhou Military Control Commission, and some are assigned to work in counties directly under the province. The 6th Brigade is mainly assigned to the 6th Prefectural Committee, Taizhou area. The 7th Brigade cadres are mainly assigned to the 4th Prefectural Committee, Jiande area. The brigade cadres are mainly assigned to a prefectural committee, Huzhu, Jiaxing area. The Youth Brigade, composed of students, is mainly assigned to work in the Provincial Party Committee and the Hangzhou Military Control Commission, and 40 people are assigned to work in a prefectural committee. The cadres of the 3rd Detachment led by Lu Jeping and Zhou Guanggu consisted of 4 brigades. The 3rd Brigade was transferred to Shanghai after crossing the river to participate in the reception work, and the 1st, 2nd, and 4th Brigades were assigned to Zhejiang. The 1st Brigade assigned 154 people to the 1st Prefectural Committee, 289 people to the 2nd Prefectural Committee, and 632 people to the 3rd Prefectural Committee, Kuzhu area. Some of the cadres of the 2nd Brigade were assigned to the Provincial Party Committee and Hangzhou Military Control Commission, and some were assigned to the 3 Prefectural Committees and the 9 Prefectural Committees work. The 4 brigades are mainly assigned to the Wenzhou area, and the latter part of the cadres are assigned to work in the Lishui area. After the Cadres went south to Zhejiang, the working environment changed. From a war environment to a peaceful environment, their identities changed. From fighters to builders in Zhejiang, their work tasks also changed. From revolution to up construction. They quickly became familiar with the environment in Zhejiang, actively promoted the party's policies, united people from all walks of life, established and consolidated the people's political power, maintained social stability, and carried out socialist construction, playing a pivotal role. Under the leadership of the Zhejiang Provincial Party Committee, the Cadres who went south to Zhejiang, together with Cadres from all walks of life, set out to establish people's regimes at all levels. The Zhejiang Provincial Committee of the Communist Party of China successively issued the decision on ending the work of the former Hangzhou Municipal Committee and the establishment of a new Hangzhou Municipal Committee, the decision on ending the work of the former Eastern Zhejiang Provincial Committee and the decision on the work of the former Southern Zhejiang Prefectural Committee, establishing Hangzhou and Ningbo, 3 municipal party committees in Wenzhou, Hangzhou Municipal Party Committee is under the leadership of the Provincial Party Committee. Ningbo Municipal Party Committee is under the dual leadership of the Provincial Party Committee and the Ningbo Prefectural 3, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th local committees, 84 county committees, city committees. At the same time, people's governments were successively established. As of July 29, 1949, Ningbo and Wenzhou were established as administrative regions in the whole province except Hangzhou, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th district commissioners' offices, and 6 municipalities under the jurisdiction of Jiaxing, Huzhu, Kuzhu, Jinhua, Langzi, and Shaoxing. On July 29, 1949, the People's Government of Zhejiang Province was formally established. While establishing people's regimes at all levels, since May 1949, the Zhejiang military region has used part of the main force going south and the guerrillas who persisted in the struggle behind enemy lines, the 2nd guerrilla column of the People's Liberation Army in eastern Zhejiang, the guerrilla column in southern Zhejiang of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, the Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Anhui based on the guerrilla detachment. The province's troops were gradually reorganized into 10 military divisions, 1 garrison brigade, 10 garrison regiments, and 66 county brigades. The establishment and enrichment of the party, government, and military institutions at all levels has laid a strong organizational foundation for the smooth reception and management of various regions and industries, and played a historic role in opening up the work situation, eliminating the remnants of the enemy and banditry, and the steady development of various construction undertakings in the future. Important role. The Central Committee of the Communist Party of China's resolution on the preparation of 53,000 cadres, October 28, 1948. The North China Bureau, the East China Bureau, the Northeast Bureau, the Northwest Bureau, the Central Plains Bureau, and the Jinsui Branch Bureau, the Jier-Chaliao Branch Bureau, the Henan, Anhui, and Jiangsu Branch Bureaus, the Central China Working Committee and the Front Committees. 1. The September meeting of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee discussed the preparation of the cadres needed to seize national power. The rapid development of the war has urgently brought this task before our party. If our party lacks this preparation, it will certainly not be able to adapt to the needs of the development of the war and put our party in a passive position. Therefore, the Central Committee made this resolution in accordance with the guidelines of the September meeting. 2. It is estimated that within the 3rd and 4th years of the war, July 1948 to June 1950, the areas under the Kuomintang rule that the People's Liberation Army may seize will contain about 160 million people. Population, about 500 counties and many medium and large cities, and establish political power in these new areas. The greatest part of these new districts will be taken in the 4th year, and a smaller part in the 3rd year. The estimated possible capture area contains roughly the same population and number of counties as we had at the end of the 2nd year of the war, that is, in June 1948. That is to say, by the end of the 4th year of the war, that is, by June 1950, we may have grown from our current population of 10,000, to 68,586,000 counties and cities to 30,000, 10,000, with a population of about 30 million and about 1,000 counties and cities. We should prepare our cadres from this possible development prospect. We must prepare all the cadres needed to seize power in the country. What this resolution says is to prepare the cadres needed for the 4th year of the war. The cadres needed in the 3rd year of the war, because the war is still going on not far from the existing 5 major liberated areas, except those who have already been dispatched, should be resolved by each area itself. The central government will make a separate decision on the cadres needed in the 5th year of the war and beyond. 3. According to past experience in developing new districts, each newly opened county needs at least about 75 county-level and district-level cadres. In the old liberated areas, the average number of cadres out of production in each county, including village-level cadres, is about there are 200 to 300 people, and as many as 400 people in the largest county. For 500 counties, about 37,500 cadres are needed. On average, 5 counties have one prefectural committee, and each prefectural committee needs at least 60 cadres. 500 counties have 100 prefectural committees, and a total of 6,000 cadres are needed. On average, 30 counties have a district party committee, and each district party committee needs at least 80 cadres. There are 500 counties with 17 district party committees, and a total of 1,360 cadres are required. 4 central bureaus need to be established in areas of about 500 counties, and each central bureau needs at least about 200 cadres, for a total of about 1,200 cadres. In addition, about 7,000 cadres need to be prepared to work in the big cities. About 53,000 cadres at the Central Bureau, District Party Committee, Prefectural Party Committee, County Party Committee, District Party Committee, and various cadres in large cities are required above. 4. Of the 53,000 or so cadres, 17,000 were allocated in North China, 15,000 in East China, 15,000 in Northeast China, 3,000 in Northwest China, and 3,000 in Central China. 5. The above-mentioned 53,000 cadres, divided by the nature of their work, should include military work, military and political work cadres necessary for the establishment of military regions, military divisions, and local troops, party affairs, confidential work, and government work workers, peasants, young women, and other mass organizations, economic work, management of industry, financial work, banking work, trade work, management of the trade bureau, news agency, and newspaper work, and school education work for running universities and party schools, etc. indispensable. The proportion of cadres for each job must also be properly equipped. 6. According to the experience of opening new districts in the past, the minimum required cadres at all levels, in addition to the general cadres, the cadres who are responsible for the main work, each county needs about 7 people, and each prefectural committee needs about 10 people. Each district party committee needs about 15 people, and each central bureau needs about 40 people. In this case, in the area of about 500 counties mentioned above, the minimum number of cadres responsible for various tasks at all levels is about 160 at the central bureau level and 255 at the district party committee level. 1,000 people at the prefectural committee level and 3,500 people at the county level. Cadres in this category must be included in proportion to the cadres drawn from each region. That is to say, in the East China and Northeast China districts, among the 15,000 cadres drawn from each district, there must be cadres who bear the main responsibilities for various tasks, 48 at the Central Bureau level, 75 at the District Party Committee level, and there are 300 people at the committee level and 1,050 people at the county level. The total number of cadres transferred by the North China Bureau is 2,000 more than that of East China or Northeast China, and the proportion of cadres that should be prepared to be transferred to assume the main responsibilities of various tasks should also be increased. In the Northwest and the Central Plains, among the 3,000 cadres transferred from each district, there must be cadres who are responsible for all kinds of work, 8 at the Central Bureau level, 15 at the District Party Committee level, and 50 at the Prefectural Committee level. People, 200 people at the county level. 7. The number of 53,000 cadres assigned to each district will be prepared in 2 phases. June 1949 is the first phase, and about 2/3 of it should be completed in each district, that is, about 11,000 people in North China, about 10,000 people in East China, about 10,000 people in Northeast China, about 2,000 people in Northwest China, and about 2,000 people in Central China. About 1,000 people. December 1949 is the second phase, and about 1/3 of the work should be completed in each district, that is, about 6,000 people in North China, about 5,000 people in East China, about 5,000 people in Northeast China, about 1,000 people in Northwest China, and 1,000 people in Central China. People around. Before June 1949, The cadres needed by the districts to develop new districts near their own districts were not included in the above-mentioned plan of 53,000 cadres. 8. In order to complete the preparations for the above-mentioned 53,000 cadres, to solve the difficulty of the lack of cadres in each district, and to prepare for the 5th year of the war, July 1950 to June 1951, to meet the needs of cadres, to cultivate, train and promote a large number of cadres in a planned way has become a major task for the party committees at all levels in all districts. For this it is necessary to a. The district central bureaus, sub-bureaus, and district party committees should immediately open party schools, or strengthen and expand existing party schools, and transfer appropriate cadres of all kinds and levels to study in party schools. In learning, the district party committee should be used as the unit, including cadres at the district party committee, or provincial party committee, prefectural party committee, county party committee, and district party committee, equipped with a whole set of shelves, and study together. This method of centralized learning with shelves can strengthen the leadership of learning, make it easier for cadres to improve, and it is easy for superior and subordinate cadres to become familiar with them. When they are dispatched in the future, these shelves can also be placed in various places without disrupting and reassigning, so as to facilitate the work. Development, of course, it does not mean that it must not be disrupted. At the prefectural and county levels, short-term training courses should be widely held to train district and village cadres. The training courses run by county committees should train village-level cadres in rotation, and select a group of people from among them, who are separated from production, and part of them are used to supplement the vacancies at the district level. B. The Central Bureau, Sub-Bureau, Working Committee, District Party Committee, Provincial Committee, Prefectural Committee, County Committee, District Committee, and other 5-level and various important jobs, all have additional deputies. Select a group of cadres at the district and village levels to serve as deputies at the county level. Cadres at the district party committee or provincial party committee level are assigned to serve as deputies at the central bureau or sub-bureau or working committee level, so that cadres at all levels who hold deputies can be tempered in actual work for future promotion. This method of appointing deputy posts should be one of the most important methods of preparing cadres. C. The major military regions shall open military and political schools, or strengthen and expand existing military and political schools, and train military and political cadres needed by military regions, military divisions, and local troops. D. Establish secondary schools and run the existing ones well, train a large number of talents with a medium education level, and prepare to supplement cadres at all levels and in various tasks. E. In areas where universities may be established, formal universities should be established immediately to train higher-level talents needed for political, economic, and cultural work in the future. F. Establish various specialized schools to train various specialized talents. A large number of short-term crash schools or training courses can be attached to the above-mentioned middle schools, universities, and specialized schools to meet emergency needs. G. In the liberated cities, freely use, train, and reform a large number of original enterprise personnel, public and educational personnel other than reactionaries, so as to make up for the shortage of urban working cadres. After a period of time, a group of such personnel can be selected for training and sent to work in newly liberated areas. XIN. Absorb a large number of workers and intellectuals from the big cities ruled by the Kuomintang, such as Ping'an, Tianjin, Qinghai, Shanghai, Nanjing, Hangzhou, Han, Chongqing, Rong, Xia, Guangzhou, Kunming, etc., to the liberated areas, and make necessary after training, they are sent to work in various positions. 9. In order to take care of the difficulties of the families of the cadres transferred to work in the new districts and reduce the concerns of the cadres, all local cadres transferred to work in the new districts in the past and in the future will be treated as military family members. The local governments should make a clear announcement and immediately treat the families of local cadres who have been transferred out as military family members. 10. In order for the cadres transferred to work in the new area to be fully prepared politically, ideologically, and organizationally, the cadres transferred from each district in June and December next year, in addition to those who have already studied in the party school, must before the end of June next year and before the end of December, there will be 2 periods of concentrated training for a short period. 11. The transfer of the above-mentioned 53,000 cadres is subject to the notice of the Central Committee.